Elly here from Thankful Flow Yoga. Thank you so much for being here for another one of my YouTube videos. And today this practice is suitable for all levels, and we're going to be doing a short sort of full body stretch in this flow. There will be a sun salutation in there as well. But yeah, there'll be different options, so suitable for everyone. And I would recommend having a strap if you can. Don't worry if not, you could always use a dressing gown tie instead. But everything that we're doing, you can do without the strap as well. It's just an option. So we will start in a position, a seated position with our legs out in front. And if you would prefer to be cross-legged here, you can. We're going to ground into the class. So you could either rest your hands in your lap like me, or you could bring your hands to heart center. Start to reach the crown of your head to the ceiling. Taking some deep breaths. Allowing your breath to move freely. Observing how you're feeling today, how your body's feeling. Maybe you're feeling really energized. Maybe you're feeling a little bit depleted in your energy levels. Maybe you're somewhere in between. There's no right or wrong. We're really just taking a moment to observe and accept what's live for you, mentally, physically, and otherwise. Starting to open the arm. And this is where we're going to have the option to use your strap here. But no worries if not. The reason I'm offering the strap today is because we're about to do paschimotonasana. So coming into this forward fold with our legs lengthened. And sometimes it can feel really good to have a strap here and be popping that behind the balls of the feet. And sometimes this can really assist with keeping the spine long as we come into the fold, but kind of giving a little bit of resistance for the legs so you can really feel that stretch. So give it a go if you've got your strap. So you want to inhale and lift up and out of the waist first. And as you exhale, leading with the chest bone, come into your fold. Breathing here. On each inhale, lengthening, making space. On the exhale, releasing. Slowly start to come up from the fold. You can release the strap now. And taking your left hand to your right thigh, this right hand can come out somewhere to the mat behind you to support you. Try and keep some light engagement through the legs. Inhale, lift up and out of the waist. Exhale, twist to the right. Send your gaze in the direction of being over the right shoulder. And breathing here. And slowly start to release. Bring the right hand to the left thigh. Left hand can come to the mat behind you. Inhale, lift it up and out of the waist. Exhale, twist to the left. Gaze follows. Noticing how the spine feels. Noticing any niggles, any areas of resistance or tension. Sending your breath perhaps to these areas as you inhale. Keep finding space and length. And release, coming back to neutral. And then right fingertips on the mat. Inhale, reach this left arm up to the sky, lift up, out of the waist. Exhale, stretch over to the right. Float the left hand back down to the mat. Inhale, reach the right arm up, lift up and out, grow your spine tall. Exhale, stretch over to the left. Feeling that right side body opening up. Keeping space across the chest. So keep thinking that you're shining the heart to the ceiling. And this can help to really create that space across the chest. Shoulder blades coming together. And release, well done. Take a couple of shoulder rolls. And then make your way into a tabletop position on your mat. So grabbing anything that you need to pop under the knees if your knees are quite sensitive. Grabbing anything to support you here. Take some light engagement through Mula Bandha, through the core, engaging those lower abdominals. And then from here, start to walk the hands out in front of you as you melt your heart and your forehead down to the mat, coming into extended puppy. Keeping the hips above the knees, light engagement through the core. So now we're stretching through the shoulders, the cervical spine, so the upper part of our spine. Remember to keep breathing. Start to slowly walk the hands back in, coming out of your puppy pose. And then from here, we'll start to ground through the right hand and thread this left arm underneath. And as you do so, bending through the right arm, lowering the left side of your head down to the mat, coming in to thread the needle. Now you can either be resting your right hand on the mat here to support you. Maybe you're reaching the right arm up to the sky. If when you're coming down into thread the needle, it does not feel right for you, for your head and your neck, I recommend coming back to a seated twist here instead and working there. Listening to your body. This pose may feel too strong for where you're at today, and that's okay. Take a different option. If you're in your thread the needle, you fancy working with a bit of balance, you can see how it feels. Bring the palms of the hands together, and maybe you're bringing this right leg out behind you, tucking the toes under. See how that feels first. Maybe you're lifting the right leg away. Hands are pressing into each other here. There's a lot going on here, a lot of strength and stability being used here to do this. Core's engaged. you're rolling around all over the place, that's that's okay too. Just come back in, meet me here when you're ready. This is just an option. You don't have to come into this version of thread the needle. You could be in the traditional version. Release your right leg back in if you came into balance. Release the hands. Bring your right hand back down to the mat and press it into the mat to support you as you unthread yourself. Pause for a moment here. Maybe reach the hips to one side and the other side, feeling that side body opening up. And then we'll start to come to the other side now. So this time grounding through the left hand, right hand threads underneath, bend through the left elbow, side of the head comes down to the mat. And again, if anything really doesn't feel right here, especially with the head and the neck, you could always have cushioning under your head. You could try a couple of cushions underneath here to bring the mat up closer to you and to support you. So you could give that a go, or just come into a seated twist. Maybe this left arm's reaching up to the ceiling. Maybe you're finding a prayer position here. If you're finding the prayer position, option to play around with this left leg. So starting off with tucking the toes under as you lengthen the left leg back, and then maybe this left leg is coming away from the mat and you're working into some balance here. It's just an option. Keep breathing wherever you are. Slowly guide the left leg in if you had it out. Release the hands. Bring the left hand back down to next to the head. And use this left hand grounding into the mat to support you as you unravel from your twist. And maybe send the hips again from side to side, opening up through the side body. So as you send your hips to the right, bring your shoulders over to the right as well, and see if you can feel this stretch through the left side body. Then try it on the other side. So shoulders coming to the left as hips come to the left. So imagine that this left shoulder's coming towards this left hip. You're bringing them in towards each other, getting a stretch there through the right side body. Don't know about anyone else, but that one feels really good. So then meeting in neutral, start to tuck the toes under, and we'll step the feet in, feet roughly hip width apart, and start to hang forwards in your forward fold. If you've been doing a few of these videos with me, you might have noticed that this forward fold comes into nearly every single practice. And that's because there's so many benefits. It's a bit like downward facing dog. So when we're in this fold, really allowing your head to hang heavy, you can bend the legs as much as you need to. But here we're stretching through the backs of the legs, the hips, the lumbar spine. We're getting a release through the head and the neck. It's also an inversion, so we're increasing the blood flow to the head, which can help improve concentration. Lots of other benefits. So see how it feels to bring the weight forwards through the balls of your feet. Taking any gentle movement that you would like to take. So maybe that's a rock from side to side or back and front. And then we're going to start to bring the feet out slightly further than hip width apart. And point your toes out to the side here. Bringing your arms in. Option to bring them to prayer position. And we're going to start to bend through the legs and come into our Malasana squat here. So I will turn so that you can see me here. So coming into our Malasana. Now, again, if you've done other classes with me, you'll hopefully know the different options by now. But you could be in a really active Malasana up here with your forearms on the thighs. You could be using a block to support you in your Malasana and have this little block under your hips and be working in your Malasana here. You could be in a completely seated Malasana where your hips are grounded and the elbows are pressing into the legs here. So take the version of Malasana that works for you, that's in your practice. It's okay if you come up onto the toes a little bit in your Malasana. Just being mindful if you are coming into this version where the hips are hovering off the mat, thinking about the knees and the ankles. If there's anything there that feels like it's been compromised, then definitely look at taking a different option. And reaching the crown of your head to the ceiling, space across the chest, engage Mula Bandha, engage your lower abdominals, all the muscles at the seat of your pelvis, so your pelvic floor as well. In an energetic sense, we're really engaging and locking through the root. Reconnect to your breath. And slowly see how it feels to come out of your Malasana, making your way back up to a standing position on your mat, meeting into Tadasana mountain pose at the top of your mat. Don't worry if you haven't just come into mountain pose the way that I have. Meet me here when you're ready. And then feet roughly hip width apart here, grounding the feet into the mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Lift your ribs away from your hips. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Soften the legs as much as you need to. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, melt the hands down to the mat, step the feet back, meeting in plank position. Option to pause with me here. Take a little check-in with your inner line of energy. Full body engagement. Keep breathing here, inhaling and exhaling. On the exhale, drop your knees down to the mat. Lower yourself down to your belly, lying on your front. Inhale, roll your shoulders back. Lift your chest, cobra. Tops of the feet pressing into the mat, activating the lower body. Exhale, melt your chest back down to the mat. Relax the legs. Inhale, press your hands into the mat. Elbows tucked in, lift the body away from the mat. Tuck your toes under, and on your exhale, send your hips to the sky for downward facing dog. Bring the hips away from the ribs, making space in the spine. Send your gaze between the knees. Refocus, recenter on your breath. Keep observing any thoughts passing through your mind. Inhale, step or walk the feet in towards the hands as you lift the chest, neatly in a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Soften the legs as much as you need to. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Lift your ribs away from your hips. Exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky, reach the crown of your head to the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold, soften the legs as much as you need to. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, float the hands down to the mat, and this time step back and everybody drop the knees straight down so we're in tabletop position. And then from here, either making sure as well that you've got your blocks to hand if you're working with these. You're going to step the left foot through between the hand, coming into a lovely low lunge here. It's coming into a low lunge, and you've got the option if you're working with blocks is you can place these blocks framing your front foot, and I would really recommend this if you are finding that low lunge is quite a challenging place for you to be, if you're finding that you're rounding a lot here and you want to create small space in the spine. I definitely recommend using some of these blocks here to support you. If you're not using the hands on blocks, option to inhale and sweep your arms up to the sky, and then option to bring your hands to the elbows and open across the shoulders. So opening through the shoulders, and again the cervical spine to the upper part of your spine here, and see if you can bring your head through. So hopefully you can see my head's coming through as my arms open up and come back as you open through the shoulders, but not forcing anything, just seeing how it feels to do this. If that's not happening for you, then that's absolutely fine. Just come to a place where you can feel the stretch. And checking some alignment here with the lower body. Our knee should be roughly above or roughly in line with the ankle. You can take cushioning under this back knee if you need to here. Engage through the left thigh, the left glute, light engagement through the core. Release the arms down, and then either using your blocks again to support you here. So walk the blocks in slightly, and we're transferring the weight through into the back right leg as we're finding some length through the left leg. Doesn't mean it needs to be completely straight, just finding some length. You can have your hands on blocks, be working with a lengthened spine and space across the chest here, bringing the front toes away from the mat, feeling the stretch through the back of the left leg, Ardha Hanumanasana. Breathing here. Maybe your hands are coming down to the mat. Maybe you're able to come into a little forward fold here. But just remembering to prioritize the length and strength of the spine. The spine is the priority, and we want to really find that place first before we start thinking about coming deeper into the posture. So if you're coming into the fold, but you're rounding through the spine to do it, then I suggest taking some blocks or easing off and prioritizing finding your length through the spine in the stretch. Well done. Slowly start to transfer the weight forwards again into the left leg, and then start to release the left leg away, coming back into neutral. Take any movement that feels good here, and then we'll start to come through onto the other side. So sweeping this right leg through into a low lunge. Again, taking anything you need under the back knee, taking hands on blocks, and they can stay on those blocks if that's where you're working. Option to inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky, lift up and out of the waist. Then see how it feels, maybe to bring your hands to the elbows. See if you're bringing your head through the arms. And keep on the every inhale, lifting up and out of the waist. Right legs engaged, right glutes engaged. Keep focusing on your breath. Then when you're ready, starting to bring your hands down, either bring your hands on blocks, bring the blocks in slightly and use them to help you transfer the weight onto this back leg. Maybe your hands are coming straight down to the mat. And then either keep working with your blocks here, or maybe the fingertips coming down to the mat, coming into your paschimotonasana on this side. And again, we're working to lengthen through the right leg, but it does not need to be straight. Just come to a place where you can feel the stretch. And I know that this one can feel quite awkward. It can feel quite uncomfortable and awkward for some of us coming into this pose. It's a really great way to get this stretch. So please use blocks, use support where you can here, so that you can take your breaths in this pose. Keep lengthening through the spine. Maybe you're taking a little forward fold, but keeping a lengthened spine here if you are. And slowly start to bring the weight back into the front leg as you then start to release the leg from the stretch. Then from here, we're going to finish the class in a lovely child's pose. So you've got the option to keep the knees together, be in a narrow leg child's pose, or you've got the option to bring the legs, the knees out to the side and sit the hips back to the heels here for a wide leg child's pose. Completely up to you. And then we're walking the hands forward, melting the chest and the forehead down to the mat. Taking some time to reconnect to your breath. Come back to being the watcher of any thoughts. Noticing where you can feel the breath in this pose. Maybe in the back body, maybe in the sides. And slowly opening the eyes if you have them closed. Start to walk the hands in, coming out of your child's pose, meeting back in a comfortable seated position on your mat. Finishing the class here for today, but as always, if you have longer, then please do come into the Lunge or stay there in your child's pose. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Hope you enjoyed this short stretch and feel really nice and stretched out now. As always, there is a link below to my membership where we do a lot more of these kind of videos, a bit more in depth, some longer and shorter practices on there, some guided meditations, some asana alignment, and also some live classes offered as well. So if you are interested in that, then please do go and have a look. But do subscribe to this channel and there'll be more videos coming out every week. Thanks, bye bye.